the federal government doesn't want you to do what the law requires drug companies to tell you to do whenever they advertise their drugs. The law requires a Pfizer or a Moderna or a Johnson or anybody else when they're promoting and selling a drug, they require them to tell you about all of the possible side effects, right? You see it all the time. And then they end with, ask your doctor if this drug is right for you. That's what they have to do. But when it comes to the big pharma profit shots for COVID-19, they tell you, don't listen to your doctor. Don't ask if it's right for you. Ask us if it's right for you. Our doctor will tell you whether it's right for you. And our doctor is Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci, who tortures dogs in horrific ways for bizarre experiments. Dr. Fauci, who funds gain-of-function research in Wuhan laboratories. Dr. Fauci, who funded research killing orphans, human children in New York to check other drugs and do other research. Dr. Fauci, he's the guy that we need to listen to. Now, before the break, I said to you, Dr. Anthony Fauci also embraces communism. This is who the government wants you to listen to. And if you think I'm kidding, if you think I'm being hyperbolic or melodramatic or overly sensitive to something, I'll let you judge for yourself. Because this is what Dr. Anthony Fauci said last month in an interview with the Canadian Broadcast Corporation.
You have got to look at it and say there comes a time when you do have to give up what you consider your individual right of making your own decision for the greater good of society. There's no doubt that that's the case.
You don't need me to translate, right? He just defined communism. The state takes precedence over the rights of the individual. The individual has no rights unless granted by the state. You must give up what you consider to be your right to make your own choices, he said. Speaking of your own medical choices, he doesn't even grant that they're our rights. He says what you consider to be your rights. There is a time for you to give up what you consider to be your rights for the betterment of the state, the betterment of society, as he called it. That's literally the definition of communism. So we're supposed to listen to that guy when it comes to deciding whether or not we want to take this jab. We're not allowed to decide, actually, and say we're supposed to listen to that guy. Shut up. Don't talk to your own doctor. Trust him. Roll up your sleeve and be done with it. That's what we are told to do. Now, the other part of this that is just as important, equally as important, is the doctor the researcher who was on the advisory panel at the FDA deciding whether or not this profit jab should be put into the arms of children. And this particular researcher, when casting his vote as one of 17 votes, 17-0, to make the Pfizer vaccine available for children ages 5 to 11, admitted this.
We're never going to learn about how safe the vaccine is unless we start giving it. That's just the way it goes.
Did you catch that? Not the cleanest audio, but I think you can make it out.
But we're never going to learn about how safe the vaccine is unless we start giving it. That's just the way it goes.
Should children get the vaccine, ages 5 to 11? Quote, we're never going to know how safe this vaccine is for those children unless we start giving it. That's just the way it goes. That's Nancy Pelosi's "we've got to pass the bill to see what's in it" on steroids. Because now they're literally saying we're going to experiment on kids. I want to hear that.
But we're never going to learn about how safe the vaccine is unless we start giving it.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
I'm sorry, my friends. I'm not pulling punches anymore here. This is the FDA, which is considered the gold standard for approval, either emergency use authorization for a drug, a vaccine, or full approval. This is what we're told is the gold standard. And one of the voting members in this FDA gold standard panel says that we won't know if it's safe for the kids until we start giving it to the kids. That's just the way it goes. Now I want you to ponder what that means. It shouldn't take you very long to ponder. They want to experiment on your kids. Get your little 6-year-old brat in here so we can pump him up full of this thing, and then let's watch and see what happens. There's no other way to take that. That's not ambiguous. That's clarity. We don't know if it's safe until we start giving it to the kids. And if you think I'm exaggerating the question, I have it on the screen in front of me. You can't see it, but I can. This is the FDA because they were voting by, Zoom or whatever their video conference was here. And the FDA voting question before the gentleman who just answered it was, quote, based on the totality of scientific evidence available, do the benefits of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine, when administered as a 2-dose series, outweigh the risks for use in children 5 to 11 years of age? So just so you know, he wasn't speaking about adults. He wasn't saying, well, we have to give the drug to more people and then we'll see. He was specifically saying children 5 to 11. Do we know it's safe? No. And we won't know until we start giving it. And then if it's not safe, we'll say, oops-a-daisy, sorry about that, our bad. But you know what? You can't do anything to us about it because we and the manufacturer called Pfizer has qualified immunity. You cannot sue us. Immunity from liability. So they want you to experiment on your kids, and here's the sad reality. Millions of parents are lining up with their kids to do exactly that. They're willing to have their children used in these tests, in these experiments. They're willing to have children be guinea pigs. Listening to the FDA admit they don't know it's safe, but they said, come and take it anyway. Parents are, okay, let's go, Junior. Not in my house.